one's life are actually destroyed, and devotion to the Supreme Lord is fixed in the heart of such a person. Then Bhagwan, he also says, this comes in the pastime of Ambarisha Maharaj, where he says, Aham Bhakta Paradhino, here aswatantra eva duja. So basically he's saying, I am actually, the Lord says, I'm in complete control of my devotees. While the Supreme Lord is actually, he's Sorat, he's absolutely independent. But he says that I'm in complete control of my devotees. My devotees take complete control of me. And he says, I stay within their hearts. And he says, why speak of my devotees? In fact, the devotees of my devotees are also very dear to me. It's not just the devotees. So this is what the Lord has to say about his devotees. He's very, very in love with his devotees. And in Padma Puran also, Lord Shiva tells to Parvati that, आराधनानां सर्वेषां विष्णुर आराधनम param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchatam. So he says, of all the worship to Lord Vishnu is the highest. And he says, more than that, the worship of his devotees is even higher, who are related to the Lord. So this is what. So with this short introduction, we can discuss about Gangamata Goswamini, her divine grace Gangamata Goswamini. And we see that in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, which is actually very, very broad in its perspective, we see that several important women gurus, they have been empowered by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and which actually it serves as spiritual bridges in times when there has been long gaps in the disciplic succession. So there are many whom we can count on, such as Sita Thakurani, who was the wife of Sri Advaita Acharya, Janava Mataji, who was Lord Nityananda's consort, and then Hemalata Thakurani, who was the daughter of Srinivas Acharya, and we have many, many more. And today we will be talking about Gangamata Goswamini, who was actually the daughter of the Zamindar king of Punthia. So she was a princess, and she was born in Punthia, and which is actually in the district of Rajashahi, which is present in the present day Bangladesh. So she made her appearance in the year 1601, and she was the only child of her parents, and she was named as Sachi Devi. And later on, she attained the name Gangamata Goswamini. Of course, in due course, we will understand how she got that name. So her childhood was not like ordinary children's childhood. She in her very early life itself, she exhibited symptoms of intense devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She would immerse herself in taking care of her, deities, Madana Gopal, and she was completely indifferent to the material affairs. And as she grew up, she gained expertise in grammar, poetry, and many other subjects. But her immersion in the Lord, her absorption in the Lord, it kept growing. And later on, she also, studied various scriptures, and she was very interested in them, and she grew up to be a very young, beautiful girl. But many men were attracted to her, but her absorption was completely in. But she was always fascinated with Krishna consciousness. So she came of her age, and seeing her indifferent behavior, her parents thought that if they got her married, probably that would settle her down. But then when the matter of marriage came upon, she absolutely declined, and she said she did not want to get married to someone who was just a mere mortal, and within the clutches of birth and death. Her parents, they tried to convince her, but then of no use. Eventually, time went by, and her parents actually passed away, and she took to the governance of the place. And for some time, she took the responsibility, she ruled. But then, of course, it frustrated her. And one day, on the plea of, going out for a pilgrimage, she set someone to look after the kingdom, and she herself went away, never to come back again. So she went by and she traveled, and then she reached Jagannath Puri. She had darshan of the deities, and a deep longing to have a spiritual master. And deep within, she was guided to go to Vrindavan. So she set off to Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan, she met a very exalted Vaishnava whose name was Haridas Pandit. Haridas Pandit, his love for Gauranga and Nityananda was unsurpassed. And looking at his spiritual power and austerity and divine form, she fell completely at his lotus feet with tears in her eyes, and she sought his mercy. Now, initially, Haridas Pandit actually, his spiritual master was Ananta Acharya, and whose spiritual master was Gadadhar Pandit. So actually, Haridas Pandit, he first tested Sachi Devi, saying that, that she was a princess, and she lived in luxury, and it will not be possible for her to maintain the strict vows of renunciation, which was necessary for bhakti. But then Sachi Mata, she understood what he was directing towards. So she became, she gave up all her, whatever minor little luxurious things that she had, opulent things that she had, she gave up. She got rid of all her ornaments and her opulent clothings and all those things. And she took up a very austere life. She would eat very frugally, and she would sleep on the banks of the Yamuna, and she would actually rise early in the morning to clean the temple of Govindaji, and she would attend the Bhagavad Katha and the Govind Aarti. So doing all these devotional activities, time went by, and Haridas Pandit was pleased, but then he tested her for the second time, and he says, that she should do Madhukari. So she abided by her guru's words, and she went door to door begging for food. And she had very little amount of food, and but then her absorption, by doing Madhukari, her absorption in the mood of serving Vijayendra Nandan became very, very intense. So by seeing all this, Haridas Pandit was very, very impressed, and he initiated Sachi Devi in the temple of Radha Govinda Dev. And she was instructed by her spiritual master to live in Radha Kund with her spiritually advanced god sister Lakshmi Priya. And for several years, they stayed together in Radha Kund, and Sachi Mata, she became very advanced in devotional life. And upon that, her Guru Maharaj instructed her that she should go to Jagannath Puri, and she should stay there. So she should take Kshetra Sannyas, and she should actually preach the message of Gauranga and Nityananda extensively, first thing. And second thing, that she should restore and protect the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, which was actually now in ruins. And this place was of great importance to the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Why? Because the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had bestowed darshan of his Shadbhuja form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And it is this place where he provided 18 explanations to the Atmaram words. So it was of great significance to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. so, so Sachi Devi, actually, she started these. She abided by the instructions of her guru, and she took Bhagavatam classes every day. And she came to that place, and she would extensively and very elaborately give the Srimad Bhagavatam class. So much so that it spread far and wide about her classes, and even the king of Puri, Sri Mukund Dev, he would also come to attend her classes. So, so how Ganga Mata, so this is what happened, and how Ganga Mata actually, she became renowned as Ganga Mata, how Sachi Devi became renowned as Ganga Mata Goswamini. There is an incident. It was the Tithi of Madhu Krishna Trayodashi Tithi, and that is the time of Ganga Puja. And many people from Puri, or Odisha, they would go to Bengal, because in Odisha, you don't have the Ganges, and Ganga Mata had a very deep desire, to take dip in the Ganges, and to be part of the celebration or Sankirtan, or the glories of Ganga and the Supreme Lord. So, with this desire, but then she, of course, could not leave because she was in Kshetra Sannyas. So, so it so happened that on that day, with that desire, she went to sleep. She was guided in a dream by Jagannath, saying that, that Mother Ganges herself, wanted to give her, give her association. And so in the night, the Shweta Ganga, it is a small place, a water body. It is named as Shweta Ganga. Actually, she should go there and she should take a dip. So she abided by the instruction, and she went there, and she took a dip, and there appeared Ganga Mata, and she gave her darshan to her. And very soon the waves of that water, actually, it swept Sachi Devi, and after some time, she found herself in the sanctum sanctorium of Jagannath temple, and she was in front of Lord Jagannath. And not just that, she could also see how the eternal associates, they were actually enjoying. They were the Sankirtan and the puja of Ganga and all those things. It was like the way she had desired. And so there was a lot of tumultuous sound and noise, which, because of which, the guards, they actually got up, and they called to the priest that there was something going on inside. So the priest, he actually then ordered, open the door, there is something going on. So when they opened the door, they found Ganga Mata there, but to their mortal eyes, they could not see the other eternal associates. They only saw Ganga Mata. They could not see anything else. So the guards, then they thought that how come she has gained access to into the temple, and not understanding properly, they thought that probably she's a thief who has come inside to rob to steal the valuables of Jagannath. So they took her and they imprisoned her. So as time went by, then Lord Jagannath, he appeared to the king, and he actually reprimanded the king, saying that she's such a great devotee of mine, and how dare you imprison her, and immediately go to her and take shelter of her lotus feet, and in fact, or you and all your people should get initiated from her. So the king, he immediately, got on his foot, and he ran with all the other priests, and they fell at her lotus feet. They begged for her pardon, and also, they posed their desire to get initiated from her. Of course, she initiated the king, but I don't know about, and the others, of course, she didn't. So so eventually, she initiated the king into devotional service. So this is, and after this, her fame spread wide, and she came to be known as Gangamata Goswamini. Then Gangam and the king wanted to, king was also guided by Jagannath, to give Gangamata the land on which the place of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house was built, and so the king abided by, and Gangamata reluctantly took that place, though she did not want to have, she didn't want to have any possession whatsoever. But since it was the order of her spiritual master, she accepted that. And it is also said that there she actually the only thing that was there at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place was this Radha Damodar Shaligram Shila. So one day it so happened that a Brahmin from Jaipur, he had the deities of Rasika Rai and Radha Rasika Rai. And so what happened is he was told in the dream that to take, because their family, because of doing some sort of seva aparad, most of the family members of that lineage, they had died. And this Brahmin was actually guided to take the deities and go to Gangamata Goswamini, because Rasika Rai wanted to be served by her. So this Brahmin, he abided by the dream, by the message, or by the instruction, and he came all the way from Jaipur to Puri, and he met Ganga Mata, and he told what he had dreamt of. So Ganga Mata, in the first place, she actually declined. She says, "I don't have the means to care for or serve the deities. How will I do that?" So she declined. So now this Brahmin, he was so perplexed. So what to do? This is the order that I have received, and what do I do? I go back, and what? Mother, he was very perplexed. So what occurred to him was, he took the deities and he left it there in the shrub of there were some tulsi shrubs. Amidst the tulsi shrub, he left the deities of Radha Rasika Rai. So then in the night, when I think it rained, and the deities got wet, and in the night when Ganga Mata was sleeping, she dreamt of Radha Rasika Rai, and he says, I'm here, and I'm drenched in rain, and you're sleeping nicely, and why are you not serving me? I want to be served by you, which howsoever you may serve me. I am very hungry and I'm feeling cold also. Like that, the Lord sort of told her in the dream. So she immediately got up and she came out, and he also told her where he was lying. And when she searched for him, she found the deities of Rasika Rai. She very lovingly embraced them, and, she got them in. And then, of course, she started their worship. And it is said that Ganga Mata, she would spend almost 12 hours in a day serving the deities of Rasika Rai. So even today we can see there are 5 deities. One of them is Radha Rasika Rai, who are served in the that place has become the Ganga Mata Mutt, and they are even served today. So these are the glories of such a great Vaishnavi as Gangamata Goswamini, and she would give great Bhagavatam classes, and she would serve the deities. She was very austere. She initiated many people, and even and she lived a very long life. She lived a life of about 120 years. So she was born in 1601, and she left her mortal body in 1721. And amidst the great sankirtan of the holy name, and amidst many devotees, she left a very, she left this mortal world. So this is about Gangamata Goswamini, and then we will talk about the disappearance of Baladev. The disappearance, tomorrow is also the disappearance day of um, His Divine Grace Baladev Vidyabhusan. So, okay, first we discussed about the appearance day. So one can always understand, okay, such great saints are, they make their appearance. It's such a wonderful time. and one should celebrate that. But why people celebrate the disappearance day of devotees? So that is very, very important. So let us understand that. So disappearance days of great saints and acharyas, we celebrate because of two reasons. It is a matter of happiness. The other devotees, they feel happy that when such great saints or when such great Vaishnavas, they wind up their pastimes and they make their disappearance. Basically, they are getting united in their loving transcendental service to Radha and Krishna. And of course, when they are reinstated in their eternal place, then it is a matter of happiness. And second thing is, whenever the acharyas they make their appearance, it is seldom understood or even noted. And when they make, people will not know. So, but by the time they make their disappearance, they leave a great significant contribution, and their life itself is actually exemplary. And that is why, their disappearance day is celebrated, which is of great benefit to all those people who know of them or who come to know of them. So, Srila Baladev Vidyabhusan, his biographical details are not much available. Exactly when he was born, which is the place that he was born. But yes, a few things are actually, from here and there, they are sort of understood. So it is said that he appeared towards the end of the 17th century. And it is said that, he made his appearance in Odisha, in a place which is very close to Remuna. It is called Balasore, or is called Baleshwara. So now this place, of course, we all know that it is very famous for the Khirchor Gopinath, whose pastimes is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita in relation to Madhavendra Puri. So Baladev Vidyabhusan, he actually appeared in a mercantile agriculturist family. And from his very childhood, he was not interested in his family profession at all. He was very, very brilliant, and people saw his extraordinary ways, how he dealt with ordinary dealings, I mean, ordinary happenings. So he was very extraordinary that way. So he studied Sanskrit. In fact, he studied vast Sanskrit, various different texts of Sanskrit he studied. Then he studied grammar, that is Vyakaran, Natya, Nyaya, that is logic. He then also he was a scholar in astrology, Vedic cosmology. But after studying so much also, he was not at all satisfied. There was a deep thirst within, which didn't get quenched by these things. He was very philosophically inclined, and looking for why one is born, what is the purpose, and what is the highest truth. All that thing was within him. So basically, after that, he left for the pilgrimage, and he went, and in course of doing that pilgrimage, he went to South India, and there he actually chanced upon the Tattvavadis in Mysore. Now, these Tattvavadis, that is, they are actually great devotees and sannyasis from the Madhva line. That is the lineage of Madhvacharya. So, in their association, he learned the conclusions, philosophy of Madhvacharya, what he propagated basically. And by hearing all that, he felt very nourished within. And so he stayed on, and he received Diksha in the Madhva line. And he very keenly served with great devotion. And eventually, he also took up sannyas in the Madhva line itself. Then he preached far and wide, and also he used to have philosophical debates, on the conclusions of Madhvacharya. So his name, like he was Baladeva, that is, he's Bala. Bala means very, very strong. So he was very strong spiritually and in spiritual learnings. And his spiritual learning was actually, that is what adorned him. So they were his ornaments. So they are called Bhushana. So he's called Baladev Vidyabhushana. So he then After staying there for a long time, then he came back to Odisha in Jagannath Puri. And in Jagannath Puri also he would debate extensively. And very soon, he was quite famous in Jagannath Puri. He was quite well known there. Then one day it so happened that he came in touch with a very elevated Gaudiya Vaishnava named Radha Damodar Goswami. So Radha Damodar Goswami, he was actually the disciple of Nayanananda Thakur. And Nayanananda Thakur, he was the disciple of Rasikananda Prabhu. Who is Rasikananda Prabhu? He preached extensively in Orissa actually. Rasikananda Prabhu, he preached extensively in Orissa, and he was the disciple of Shyamananda Prabhu. And Shyamananda Prabhu is actually one of the Trinity, that is Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Prabhu, who were the first ever book distribution team. So Shyamananda Prabhu, he was the disciple of Hridaya Chaitanya Prabhu, and who was the disciple of Gauridas Pandit. Now, Gauridas Pandit, he is actually the incarnation of Subala Sakha from Krishna Leela. And this Gauridas Pandit, he was the disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu was the direct disciple of Madhavendra Puri. And of course, Madhavendra Puri, he was the Param Guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this Radha Damodar Prabhu, he actually explained the Achintya Bheda Tattva and other philosophical teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhu to Baladev Vidyabhusan, and especially he taught the teachings of the Shat Sandarbhas of Srila Jiva Goswami. So now when Baladev Vidyabhusan, he heard the teachings of Jiva Goswami, he was totally amazed. He was very, very amazed. And he found the teachings to be very, scholarly, very rich, philosophically very deep, and devotionally very drenched. And he was completely moved. So he continued to learn the works of Jiva Goswami. And in fact, he was so moved, and he was so he was so surrendered to the teachings that actually he wanted to surrender to Radha Damodar Goswami and get initiation from him. Now, a very significant point took place here, that when he expressed his desire to Radha Damodar Goswami to get initiated, Radha Damodar Goswami, he declined. He said that he told to Baladev Vidyabhusan that he was already under a bona fide Madhvacharya Sampradaya and having a bona fide spiritual master and bona fide sannyas guru, from whom he had actually taken sannyas. And it is one of the, and this bona fide sampradaya is one of the four prominent sampradayas, which is starting from from Brahma. So, and it is against the spiritual principles to reinitiate someone who is already initiated in a bona fide, by a bona fide spiritual master and in a bona fide lineage. So, but however, Radha Damodar Prabhu, he was very, out of his great mercy, he took him as his student, and he taught him the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and of course he declared him also as a Gaudiya Acharya. So, so it was later that Baladev Vidyabhusan, he was instructed by Radha Damodar Goswami to go to Vrindavan and continue his learning under a great Gaudiya stalwart, that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So actually, Baladev Vidyabhusan, immediately he set out for Vrindavan, but it is said that on the way he visited Navadip, because he was very eager to see the childhood pastime place of Mahaprabhu. So he did without spending much time, because his heart was burning with the desire to meet Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, and without much delay he continued towards Vrindavan. So there, when upon reaching Vrindavan, he surrendered himself to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was very impressed by Baladev Vidyabhusan because of his great Vaishnav qualities. He was very, very learned. And in spite of being very learned, he was down to earth. He was very humble. And he was simple in his mannerisms, and had deep hunger for learning, and had great spirit for serving Vaishnavas. And he had wholeheartedly embraced the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within his heart. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, he accepted him with great delight, and he accepted to teach him Srimad Bhagavatam. But simultaneously, after some time, he also instructed him to go to one great Gaudiya stalwart by the name Pitambara Das, and he was a stalwart in Rasa Shastra. So and he stayed also in Vrindavan nearby, and he wanted Baladev Vidyabhusan to learn Rasa Shastra from him. And Rasa Shastra is actually, it describes the various rasas, the mellows, such as Hasya, Shanta, Dasya, Rudra, Raudra, whatever, etc. So So at that time when Baldev Buddha Bhushan was there, it is important to understand the political scenario during that time, because a great Baldev Vidya Bhushan, he actually upheld the Gaudiya victory flag, and so it is important to understand what was the political scenario at that time. So during that time, the Muslims had invaded, and the King Aurangzeb, he destroyed many temples, many sacred structures, many sacred pastimes which were actually established by the Goswamis. And the pujaris at that time, they were very afraid, and they wanted to protect their deities, their worshipable deities. So like Jiva Goswami, his deity was Radha Damodar, Rupa Goswami was Radha Govinda Deva, and of course many other, their deities were being taken care by the pujaris. So they were very, very, they wanted to protect their deities from the wrath of Aurangzeb. So most of the deities from Vrindavan, they were actually taken to Jaipur or to Karoli, that is in Rajasthan. So because the kings of Rajasthan, they were very favorable towards the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and they were supportive of them, and they were against the Mughal kings as well. So in fact, only two deities they did not leave Vrindavan. One is one is Vrinda Devi of in Kamavan, and Sri Radha Ramana Lal of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So these two deities, no one could, touch them. And it is said that if one takes the darshan of Radha Raman, he actually has the darshan of Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govindji, and Radha Gopinath. So now Radha Govind Dev, he was taken to Kaman. So Kaman is the outskirt of Vrindavan basically, and we see that the outskirts of Vrindavan shares its boundary with the state Rajasthan. So at that time, Kaman was with the kings of Rajasthan, the Rajputs of Rajasthan. And for 31 years, the deity of Radha Govinda Dev, it was worshipped in the place called Kaman. And that time the king was Raja Man Singh, and he gave all protection, and the pujaris could continue the worship of Radha Govinda Dev in the place called Kaman. But after his death, there was another king, and that king also died very early in life. And after him was another king by the name Raja Jai Singh. Now this Raja Jai Singh, he was very, very young. He was about 11, 12 years old at that time. But he was not like the other kings, when he was young, he visited with his father the Vrindavan, and immediately, he was so mesmerized that he had spontaneous love for the mood of Vrindavan. So, so he was actually Gaudiya. He was very supportive of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. In fact, he was very learned. He was very scholarly. He, in fact, even wrote commentaries to many Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures. So this king Raja Jai Singh, his capital was in Jaipur. So he was since he was a great Gaudiya king itself, he wanted to worship Radha Govinda Dev. So he shifted Radha Govinda Dev from Kaman to Jaipur. So now at that point in time, 10 kilometers from Jaipur, there is a sacred place by the name Galtapidha. Galtapith. Now, this Galtapith, it is actually a very prominent spiritual heritage site, and it is of great importance. Why? Because there actually was a specific spiritual community which were called as the Ramananda Sampradaya. So those people were called the Ramanandis. So who were these Ramanandis? These Ramanandis were actually, they were actually had North Indian connection to the Sri Sampradaya of Ramanujacharya of the South India. And they were led by a prominent Acharya called Ramananda. So subsequently, the others came to be known as Ramanandis. So there was one prominent difference between Ramanujacharya's this thing and Ramananda. The difference was that Ramanujacharya he gave the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, while the Ramanandis they used to worship Sita Ram. And so what happened that these Ramanandis actually, they gained great support. At that time, the kings, they got great support from the royal kings, and they preached extensively, amongst the royal families, and they built they pleaded to the royal family at that time to establish a big monastery, so that which would work as their headquarters, and they could actually preach far and wide. So when Jai Singh he got Radha Govinda ji shifted to Jaipur, what was the situation? Now this was predominated by the Ramanandis. So the pujaris were Ramanandis, the people were Ramanandis, and suddenly Radha Govinda ji comes. So there is a some kind of commotion. So, so the pujaris, actually, the people, they were all very favorable towards Ramanandis, but when King Jai Singh, who was very inclined towards Gaudiya Sampradaya, and who was a great scholar himself, now these Ramanandis, they raised concern. They disturbed the Ramanandis, and they approached the king, and they showed their concern about Gaudiya Sampradaya. So, they asked the king, okay, you have called them here, but they are here and they are worshipping Radha Govinda Dev, but we want to understand who are these people. In Kali Yuga, there are 4 Sampradayas. So, which Sampradaya do the Gaudiyas belong to? So, this was what they had asked the king. So, of course, the king was of course, the king, he was serious about this. Yes, what they are saying is right. We have to understand this. And so, after a lot of thinking, the king decided that, once and for all, he wanted a philosophical and theological discussion on this and settle this matter. So then, then he propagated this far and wide, that he desired to settle this. So this news of the king, it reached Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, he was very old and infirm at that time, and though he had all the answers and all the answers and all the settlements, but he could not travel. At that time, with him was Baladev Vidyabhusan. So when Vishwanath Chakravarti Path, he saw that the backbone of Gaudiya philosophy was challenged, he asked Baladev Vidyabhushan to go to Jaipur on his behalf and settle things. So it so happened that it is said that on that before setting out to Jaipur, Baldev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakrabarti Pad, the whole night, they had this debate, and Vishwanath Chakrabarti Pad was conditioning Baldev Vidyabhushan, and he was telling him all the things. So after this debate, Baldev Vidyabhushan, he set out the very next day. So it is said that the Ramanandi said that while they were discussing, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Pad, Baldev Vidyabhushan inquired, what is it all about? Like, what is it that they want to settle? So Vishwanath Chakrabarti Pad, he said that it is said that Utkala Purushottame. It means that 4 sampradayas, which is coming from Krishna, they must have a mutt in the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath, that is in Puri. So, but the Gaudiyas, they do not have any mutt of their own in Puri. So, Baldev Vidyabhushan, hearing this, he replied in a very rasika way. He said that the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri is the mutt that we have. And so we need not have a separate mutt. So hearing his reply, Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad was very, very satisfied. And he said, yes, as far as I'm concerned, I may not even care for all these things. I may not even care whether others understand or not. We may even live in seclusion. That is not a concern at all. Whether we don't have to convince anybody. We know what we are doing, and we may live in seclusion. We may not care about any of these things. But this is the opportunity, he says, but this is the opportunity to raise the flag of Mahaprabhu's Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So this opportunity should not be gone. So Baldev Vidyabhushan, he set out. And at that time, Baldev Vidyabhushan Path, he was not very famous. And when he went to Jaipur, he faced some difficulties, to meet the king. So eventually it so happened that the meeting was arranged, and Baldev Vidyabhushan and Ramanandis, the king, all of them, they sat in a place, and the discussion was now open. So basically then they said, okay, if you are discussing on behalf of Gaudiya, what are your credentials? So he says, oh, I am initiated in the line of Madhvacharya. I took sannyas from Madhvacharya. So the Ramanandi says, okay, you are initiated in the line of Madhvacharya. What about others? The others may not be, na? Then at that time, he traced the Siksha and Diksha line, which goes up to Madhvacharya. The Gaudiya Siksha and Diksha line, which goes up to Madhvacharya. So he settled that. Then they said that, do you have any commentary of your own on the Vedanta Sutra? So he says, that we did not have a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra because we have a natural commentary of our own of Vedanta Sutra. He says, what is that? He says, Srimad Bhagavatam. It is a natural commentary. So it is an auto commentary, which means that it was Veda Vyas who gave the Vedanta Sutra, and he himself gave the commentary to the Vedanta Sutra. So this is an auto commentary. So then they didn't agree to that. They says, oh, but then the Srimad Bhagavatam it is not exclusive to Gaudiya philosophy. It is for all. So do you have your own this thing? So he says, no, I do not have, but I can, but I can give it to you. He says, oh, how will you give it to? Give. Then he says, no, I will write it down. So the king was completely baffled. He said, what do you mean that you are going to write The God, you are going to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which has about 550 sutras or aphorisms. And so he was like, Jesse was completely, his head was spinning. So then they settled down, and they said that, okay, then if you want to write and present it, then there should be a prescribed time period. And within that time period, you have to submit the writings. And in case you don't, of course, then you will be defeated. And if at all you finish it in time, your explanations should be agreeable to the Ramanandis. So these were the two conditions. So Baladev Vidyabhusan agreed, and then he set out. So what he first did is he went to take darshan of Sri Govindadev, and he paid obeisances to Sri Govindadev, with his heart full of this desire to serve him. And immediately at that time, a garland from the Govindadev deity fell down. So the pujari, he came running with the garland to Baladev Vidyabhusan, and he said that whatever desire, I do not know what desire you have within your heart, but since the Lord's garland has fallen, it means that he approves of it. He accepts your desires. So that night, what happened? Baldev Vidyabhushan, he gets a dream of Govindadev, and Govindadev in the dream, he tells to Baldev Vidyabhushan Pad that don't worry, and I will speak to you and write through you. So you just have to become an instrument and be very strong, and and present the philosophy. Victory will be yours. So this is what he had said at that time. So Baldev Vidyabhushan, eventually it so happened that Baldev Vidyabhushan, by the mercy of Govindadev, he was able to finish the writings or the commentaries of the Vedanta Sutra in time and presented to the king. And he answered all the concerns regarding connection with the bona fide Samprada, one. And second, there were many agendas. So he answered all of them. So the first one was the connection of the Gaudiya Sampradaya to a bona fide Sampradaya. So that was cleared. And then he showed how the Diksha, that he showed previously also, how the Diksha and Siksha line actually it came from the Madhvacharya clan. And then the second thing was that how Radha and Krishna, they both can be worshipped individually but not together, because usually Lakshmi Narayan, they are consorts, and so was Sita and Ram. They were married, and that was Swakiya Ras. So they could be worshipped together. But Radha and Krishna, they were never married. That is a Parakiya Ras. So they cannot be established on the same altar. They can be worshipped separately. But Baldev Vidyabhushan, he answered that, saying that the Radha and Krishna in Parakiya Ras, they are actually the fountainhead of all rasas. So that was his answer. And he described, of course, all that. And then the third thing that was emphasized was that that the Gaudiyas, they gave much emphasis to Krishna, 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 and they did not give any importance to Narayan or to Vishnu. So he established, he also, satisfied them by saying that, he first established how Krishna, he's the origin of Narayan and Vishnu. And so the worship of Krishna also includes the worship of Vishnu Murtis. So by his presentation, and it was so strong and irrefutable that the king then announced the victory flag for the Gaudiya Vaishnava. So this is how Baldev Vidyabhushan, he actually carved a niche. He upheld the flag of victory for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So the Ramanandis also see their greatness. They humbled themselves and they accepted the philosophy presented by Baldev Vidyabhushan, and they were very, very much convinced. And they even begged Baldev Vidyabhushan to initiate them in the line of Gaudiya Vaishnava. But here, just like his spiritual master, Baldev Vidyabhushan, he refused for the very same reason that they belong to a very bona fide sampradaya under Ramanujacharya, and as per principles, they should not be reinitiated. So such were the glories of Baldev Vidyabhusan. Then Baldev Vidyabhusan, he actually came back to Vrindavan, he met Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, who was very, very happy, and he blessed him profusely. And after Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad passed away, Baladev Vidyabhusan naturally the leader, and he wrote many works and commentaries. And he also commented on the Bhagavad Gita, many Upanishads, 10 Upanishads, and he wrote many texts. And it was in the year 1793 that Baladev Vidyabhusan, he left this world. And the king that time, whose name was King Raja Pratap Singh, he actually wrote a letter in grief, that spread far and wide. And a great festival was also held at that time. Because the king had written the letter, we all came to know, we all know when exactly did Baladev Vidyabhusan disappear, from his mortal pastimes. So otherwise, it was difficult to know even that. So it is said that Baladev Vidyabhusan, he had two disciples, and these two disciples were Shri Nandana Das and Shri Uddhava Das. Now, Uddhava Das, he had a disciple named again Uddhava Das. So he is Uddhava Das too. Now, Uddhava Das too, he had a disciple, his disciple was Siddha Madhusudana Das Babaji of Surya Kund Govardhan, whose direct Paramahansa disciple was Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and whose Siksha disciple was Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and whose Diksha disciple was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and whose Diksha disciple was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and whose sixth Diksha disciple was Sri A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And after Baladev Vidyabhusan, it was Srila Prabhupada who upheld the legacy of Baladev Vidyabhusan. So we see that in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, which is commented by Srila Prabhupada, he dedicates the Bhagavad Gita to Baladev Vidyabhusan. So such are the glories of great Vaishnavas, and it is said by Narottam Das Thakur, where he prays to the Vaishnava, "E baar koruna karo, Vaishnava Gosai." So he says, please, once, Vaishnava, please be merciful unto me. And there is no way for the fallen souls other than the mercy of the Vaishnavas. And where will you find such Vaishnavas by whose mere audience all sins go away? And also Bhakti Vinod Thakur, in his song, O Vaishnava Thakura, he says how a Vaishnava, he is an ocean of mercy. And he's so full of compassion. And it is said that the Vaishnavas, they carry Krishna in their hearts, and they are the ones who can give Krishna to us. In fact, we only shout Krishna, Krishna and run behind them. So such are the glories of these Vaishnavas. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I've gone a little overboard, and forgive me for all the mistakes that I have made. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai.
Hari Hari Bol, thank you so much. It's a detailed, nectarian, wonderful presentation. So much details which are unknown. Amazing. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful.
Thank you, Sundar Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, excellent presentation. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji. Wonderful explanation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. All glories.
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful, Mataji. Wonderful.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
I have an announcement once this is done, please.
Yes.
I just want to share that whenever I see the Vaishnava, we come across so many acharyas' appearance and disappearance days. So I always used to wonder, how do I know about all these acharyas? So thanks to Rangakrishna Prabhu for initiating this particular program, glorification of acharyas. Hare Krishna. I always look forward to attend this session.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very nice. Well prepared. Very nice.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
And it is very nice that you connected the complete parampara, the Siksha and the Diksha parampara. Very nice.
Hare Krishna
Excellent.
Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all so much. With all your permissions, a small announcement. Raseshwar Prabhu, are you there on the board?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, you can just give an update of your visit to this place today.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Actually, today myself and